Well, good morning, tubers and tubettes. It's the 15th of the month here in May. And just want to, again, real quick, before we get into what a long, strange trip it's been, the little title of my little video. Just want to thank those that subscribed recently. I think there were 500 or 600 people jumped on board, so thanks. And my little channel just turned 10 months old today, and so far we've had 1,500,000 views, which just blows my mind. So thanks, guys, for being loyal and subscribing and watching and commenting and all that good stuff. So a couple of days ago, well, actually 3 or 4 days ago, I think I posted some videos, and I received some private messages from two different guys that live here in Dumageddon, and they were very snarky. They did not like a couple of things on 2 different videos, not the same one. They did not like what I said or posted or showed. And what I found interesting about that was how I reacted to those snarky comments. And these aren't from subscribers that are making comments. These are cats that I've sat down with and had lunch with. They've been to my home, I've been to their home. And I'm going to get into how I reacted to them, but not now. You're going to have to wait a little later, and I'll tell you later in the video, so hang in there. Or don't. It's up to you. I don't blame you if you leave. One of the reasons I haven't posted a video for 3 or 4 days is I've been a little preoccupied. I received a message that my oldest son was in the hospital due to a drug overdose. So I've been kind of preoccupied with what his condition is and the outcome. And the good news is that he's recovered. And they've put him, for the 45th time into rehab. And we'll just see how that goes. And another little anniversary is coming up. The channel's 10 months old, but tomorrow, May 16th, is going to mark my 3-year anniversary of living in the Philippines. And so I imagine the assumption of, if you look at the thumbnail and read the title of what a long, strange trip it's been, the assumption would be that I would be reflecting back on the 3 years that I've been living here in the Philippines. What a long, strange trip it's been. But au contraire. This is really not about that at all. Maybe a little. How I replied to those comments has to do with the last 3 years. But what a long, strange trip it's been is when I got the message that my son had overdosed and was being intubated on a ventilator, I guess, kept alive from the overdose, it once again flooded back memories of my life in America. And a memory that I had forged out of my brain came back. Something that I had just dropped since I was maybe 30 years old. I'm 65. So for 35 years, this memory hasn't passed through my small reptilian brain. But the memory was when I was a little kid. When I used to come home, the knot that used to form in my stomach. Now, those of you that have watched my videos before or have followed me a little bit on Facebook know the deep affection and love that I have for my father. He's 95 years old, still alive and well, still working, still fishing, still raising hell, still my best friend. My mother was another story. My mother was a knee-walking drunk, and she was a very mean and very abusive drunk. I have no doubt that she loved me with all of her heart, but that her alcoholism and her actions superseded that love. And I can remember coming home from grade school, junior high, high school, and dreading walking through the front door of my own home. I can remember being very humiliated by her in public on many occasions. In fact, I spent 3 summers, 3 years on Coronado Island when I was a teenager. A very nice couple, the Sanders. I was friends with their son, Mitch. They had me down to their home. They were very well-to-do people in Coronado to hang out with Mitch. And I didn't realize it at the time, but they saw the situation that I was in. And I guess out of the kindness of their heart, they figured it would be humanitarian to pull me out of that situation and take me down there for the summer. I'd also forgotten about that for some reason. I found that in my life, growing up with that kind of dysfunction, that dysfunction became normal. Abnormal became normal. If things were going right, then it wasn't right. If things were going good, then something must be wrong, because there's no drama, there's no tension, there's no stress, there's no fear. And I don't know what happens in my small little reptilian brain that made me feel that way. But as I progressed and grew up and matured in life, I found that the choices that I made, the people that I involved myself with, were dysfunctional also. And I was drawn towards that. And so that was very reflective in my first marriage with my first wife, my son's mother. And it was also and we divorced. And it was also very reflective in my second marriage. I found myself unwittingly becoming a people pleaser. What I wanted to do, what I felt was my job, was to fix everything. When someone had an issue or a crisis or a problem, I needed to rush in and make it better. I needed to, whatever it took, I needed to try to pacify them. I needed to calm them down. I needed to assist them, and in the process became, I don't know if weak is the proper word, but I certainly lost a sense of self and identity and self-worth, if you will. So what I ended up doing was giving and giving and giving to the best of my ability. I feel like my intentions were good, but the results that were produced were just catastrophic. I used to throw, when I was making money, good money, I would throw money at the problem. And you throw money at somebody with a problem, you become what's called an enabler. And now they just actually go out and create more chaos because they just do it in higher style. They just go to nicer places and do it. They got a little grip in their pocket. So this continued on and on and on and on throughout work, throughout relationships, raising kids. I found myself in a constant state of self-depreciation, self-loathing, if you will. For some reason, it was, I couldn't make things, when I tried to fix things, they just didn't get fixed. And so the way that I dealt with people was to take I wanted anything but conflict. That was, I did anything I could to avoid dissension or conflict or a fight. or interruption. I just wanted things to calm down. That was my mode, if you will. Well, I won't go through all the gory details of all the gory things that happened, because they weren't all bad. I'm not having a pity party here. I'm just trying to explain to you a little bit about how change can come about for me, or did come about for me. When I finally had enough of having enough, I got on a plane 3 years ago tomorrow and came over here to the Philippines. And in that process, I had made a conscious decision that what I was doing was the definition of insanity. I was doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. And I was acting out over and over and over again the definition of insanity. And I said to myself, you know what? This is where the insanity ends. And I got on a plane and I landed here, and the insanity ended. So as I acclimated myself here in the Philippines, I began to do something that I hadn't done for a long, long time. I began to make friends, and I started to feel better about myself. And it wasn't an automatic, overnight, quick fix. It's been a process, and I pray it continues to be a process that continues. To where now I feel much more empowered as far as if I encounter someone with a problem or with an issue, I realize now it's not my problem and it's not my issue. What's that saying? Not my circus, not my monkey. You know, I can offer a word of encouragement. I can listen. I can, but I'm not going to take it on. In other words, I'm going to let it go. Now, there are people that are very, very close to me that if they have a problem or an issue, obviously I'm going to help them. But again, I still don't feel like it's my obligation to do so. And that is a very liberating and a very gratifying realization or personality maturity level that I've reached. And I don't want to repeat myself, but I really pray that continues to grow. So the snarky comment. I think I promised at the beginning of this little hoo-ha that I was going to talk about that. I posted up some videos that a couple of guys took exception to. And my old Paul, the American Paul, when they sent me these messages, and the messages were hey, I watched your video and you said this, and that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. You stop doing that. It was an order. Like, you know, they're my daddy. Both guys on 2 different videos. This is not on one thing. It's on 2 different videos. And they both had the same attitude, if you will, of, hey, I saw that, I disagree with it, and you need to stop doing it and don't ever do it again. The old Paul would have tried to fix that. I would have apologized. I would have felt bad. I would have owned it. It would have made me feel like I did something wrong, that I needed to make it up to them. And they wouldn't have respected that at all. They would have portrayed me as what I was, weak. Now, when I read those messages, the new Paul had a whole different attitude. And to be frank with you, when I read them, I didn't feel bad or anything else. It was obvious to me that they had misconstrued what I had said. In other words, they didn't get it. They didn't get what I had said. I said one thing and they heard or saw another. And so when they told me, you need to stop that, my knee-jerk reaction was to say, oh yeah? I mean, I want to tell you, I had the phone in my hand and the thumbs were ready to say, well, F you. And I didn't do that either. What I did was I calmed down, I read it, and I said, you know what? It just doesn't matter. I know these guys. I broke bread with these guys. We're not close. I mean, we're people that say hi to each other. They know me. They know May. I know their significant others. May knows their significant others. If I see them in the future, hi, how are you? Sit down. Want a cup of coffee? Sure. How's things? What's going on? What's new? I doubt that it gets brought up again. But here's what I decided how to respond and how I was going to deal with those comments. They aren't worth my investment. My time, my energy, my emotions, my thoughts are best spent invested in those that do get me. And not everybody's going to, and I realize that. I'm not looking for that. My reply, thanks for your feedback. And then I immediately just dismissed these two guys from my head. And I said, you know what? I'm glad they wrote. Because now I see the other side of these guys. Now I kind of see their true colors. Sometimes it takes a while for a person's true colors to come out. That's why fools rush in. And before I'm a fool and rush in to anybody that I meet anymore and invest time and energy and emotion into, I've taken a step back and let's investigate them a little bit. Let's get to know them a little bit. And by all means, because they disagree or got offended or thought that I did something wrong, doesn't necessarily mean that I've got to apologize for simply being me. I am what I am, and you can take it or you can leave it. What a long, strange trip it's been, boys and girls. There's been ups and there's been downs. And you know what? All of those downs and all that dysfunction and all that nonsense and all that craziness and all that mayhem and disappointment brought me to a place to where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Got myself a do-over, which most people don't get. And the reason most people don't get it is because they don't try, in my humble opinion. And I was able to take an adversity, take a criticism, and have it bounce off me, just like water off a duck's ass. Thanks for everyone that's been subscribing. Thanks for everyone that's been watching. I hope you're doing well under the quarantine craziness. Be sure to leave those comments. All right. I'll talk to you guys later.